My name is Christopher Hermelin, although my pen name is C.D. Hermelin, and this project that I started is called the Roving Typist. My project is about typing stories for strangers. This is an idea that's like as old as typewriters, but there was this guy in San Francisco who had a typewriter out. I asked him about it and he was typing poems for people that were walking by, and I said, hey, do you mind if I try this myself? Because I immediately thought like that, it spoke to me on a lot of levels. Later that week, I saw a typewriter for sale in a yard sale literally across the street from my apartment. This typewriter that I got, my Royal Safari typewriter that I use, was $10, and I immediately was like, I'm gonna take this out and write stories. And I did once in Union Square in San Francisco. I took it there and I had a horrible day. I couldn't get my typewriter working correctly right. I was like nervous, so my stories weren't coming out very well. There was a guy with a cello who was mad at me. It was like a big nightmare, so I kind of put it away, and I was just thinking like, well, I just won't do that again. But I did want to keep using my typewriter, and my roommate at the time told me that I couldn't use it in the apartment because it was so loud. So I would use it on our stoop, and people would stop and talk to me while I was doing it. So I knew that it had power. And it wasn't until 2 years later, when I moved to New York City, was I in bad enough financial straits. I was very, very broke, and I needed to do it again. My grandfather is probably the best storyteller that I know. He's very funny, and he knows his audience. I remember him telling me and my cousins a story about the first time that he ever drank water. He was like, I was 7 years old. So it's inherently ridiculous. But he tells tall tales, and I don't know how genetics and passing down storytelling works, but I would say he is definitely someone who showed me that you absolutely can tell a great story on the spot. About 45 minutes usually goes by before anyone stops. For some reason, it takes like a very intrepid person talking to me for other people to see and then start talking to me. But until that first person breaks from their little group or from their couple that come talk to me, no one will. I try to sit there smiling, and like I try to type to like bring people over, but that's usually the first 45 minutes. And then from that point on, usually it's the snowball effect is I get like 10 or 15 stories, and that gets so stressful that I really can only last about an hour, maybe an hour and a half more, before it just is like, I have to say no, because I'm not even writing very well anymore. It's something about like the mixture of the performance high and the need to have it done for the people that are standing right there, plus the permanence of typewriting, meaning like if I mess up, I can't backspace. What I've gotten better at over time is being able to carry on a conversation with somebody while sometimes typing. And that's the real difficulty. One of the big reasons why I love doing it is I get to talk to so many different people. And I don't want to be like so engrossed in my thing that like I miss like a conversation with somebody. It's really important to me, this side of that you can pay whatever you want. I like that people can put a value judgment on it. So I don't know what I'm getting into, and I like that side of it. I think it's really important because honestly, if anyone's really interested and they really want a story, I wouldn't want them to walk away because they're like, oh, I don't have 15 bucks, whatever I would charge. So it's really important to me that like anybody can come up and grab a story. There was this one time that this little girl came up to me and she was like, I want a story, but it's really specific. I was like, oh, that's great. And she proceeds to tell me a story about a Bengal tiger. She was like, I want a story about a Bengal tiger, and it like knows that this little girl is his best friend and he's not mean to her. And then the Bengal tiger follows her onto her cruise ship home, and then she makes it all the way, and she literally just told me the entire story, and like all the people that are starting to gather to listen to this little girl's story, and I've started just like basically typing exactly what she's telling me. And she got the story and read it, and she handed it to her mom. She said, "Mom, that's perfect. He's such a good writer." And she just walked away, and I literally basically wrote what she told me to write. And she was just so precocious after she read it. It was fantastic. Would you like a story? Yeah? What would you like your story to be about? Anything? What's your name? Deborah? D-E-B-O-R-A-H? And Deborah, what's your favorite animal? So a guy contacted me and told me that his girlfriend had gotten really interested in me and my story writing, and he wanted to propose. So he contacted me and told me the story of their relationship. Will you please write a story that ends in some way that will lead to my proposal? And so I went to the High Line literally just to be like a prop in his proposal, where I pretended like I hadn't had it written already. And she came and I talked to them for a little bit and then said, will you please walk away so I can write this? And then just pulled the story out of my bag and handed it to them, and they walked away and they came back engaged. Would you like a story?
Yes, it's from my daughter. She's turning 21.
She's turning 21.
I used to tell her bedtime stories about a fairy that she named Angus.
Angus the fairy?
Yes.
Was Angus a male fairy?
I expect so.
Okay.
And my daughter's name is Leah, L-E-I-G-H-A.
L-E-I-G-H-A. Okay. I'm writing a story for her. She asked for a story for her daughter about a character that she used to tell her daughter stories about.
It's a bedtime story I used to tell.
So I'm adding to the mythology, I suppose. One thing that I kind of like and want from the project is when people see me writing a story, maybe it'll spark something in them and they'll try it. Sometimes I write stories that I call the end of the beginning. That's like, I'm like, this one just got to the end of the beginning. I always write the end, ... or maybe not, or something stupid like that. Because I do hope that maybe someone will grab it and like, especially the little kids that I do this with, I really hope that they take the story and then, you know, so maybe she took that story with that Bengal tiger or something and she's gonna turn something else into it. And that spark is another thing that I strive for. There you go. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. I hope you like it.
Thanks, I'm sure we will. It looks good from what I saw.
Oh, good. I hope they like zebras.
Yeah, I like that. That's the part that I like to see.
This is something that I should never feel like is a chore. And the minute it starts feeling like a chore, I'll drop it. But I think like it's gonna be something that I just do my entire life. It's short story writing, it's automatic writing, it's spontaneous writing, and that's always something that's gonna be interesting to me. And it's always going to produce wildly different results. And I think that that's one of the wonderful things about it, is like every time that I sit down, I do come up with another story for a different page. And as long as that keeps happening, I don't ever plan on stopping.